Hi guys, I'm Borealis, and I'm here to introduce you to my upcoming visual novel, Venus Improbable Dream. If you've never played a visual novel before, let me fill you in on what they're about. It's a bit like reading a book, but with visual scenes, character sprites, music and sound effects to really bring the experience to life. Not only that, but there are plenty of choices that you, the player, can make throughout the story that change what happens, bringing an element of choose-your-own-adventure to the mix. Many visual novels focus on romance with lots of dateable characters, and others are full of comedy and ridiculous situations, but while Venus Improbable Dream does feature some of that, it aims to be a little more special. How so? I'll tell you. When I came up with the idea for this story, I knew that I wanted to represent people who struggle with mental health issues, showing things like depression and anxiety in a realistic and unfiltered way, and demonstrating just how dark people's thoughts can be. I then wanted to take the player on a journey during which they make choices to help the protagonist of the game slowly overcome his problems little by little, and encourage people to believe that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, a positive future waiting for everyone, if you dare to look for it. Venus Improbable Dream follows the tale of Kakaru, a 17-year-old boy who was born with a birth defect called a hemangioma on his face. After having been bullied and shunned during his younger years for the way he looked, he developed an extreme case of anxiety and depression, bordering on a phobia of people in general. He spends his days trying to go as unnoticed as possible, refusing to interact with pretty much everyone, disappearing from any room as soon as he can, and even struggling to talk to his own parents, living as a shadow of his former self. At the beginning of our story, Kakaru is told by his homeroom teacher that for the good of his future, he's been placed into the after-school music club to try and help him branch out in his social life and become more confident. Naturally, he's terrified by the idea, but when he's forced to try it out, he meets someone he didn't expect. Enter Haruka, the music club's hidden gem. Kakaru stumbles upon her playing the flute in a back room of the club, and though their first few meetings are incredibly awkward, he learns that, thanks to a disability, she too struggles with her own mental health issues and prefers to stay away from other people. This is when everything begins to change. Despite their own fears and flaws, Kakaru and Haruka start to feel oddly drawn to each other, finding solace in each other's company, and as they live out their hesitant lives and forge a slowly blossoming connection, Kakaru begins to feel something stir within him. Inspired by Haruka's strong passion for music and her bravery in the face of her disability, he starts to wonder what it might feel like to break out of his shell once more, to make friends, to reclaim his sense of self, and most importantly, to have a dream. This is where you, the player, come in. As you follow Kakaru's daily school life, you're presented with several choices that will affect how he reacts to situations, how his actions affect others, and ultimately, how the story ends. There are 4 possible endings in total, some happy and others less so, and going back to choose different options allows you to see every eventuality come to life. Not only that, but the earlier sections of the game feature special options that affect how Kakaru and Haruka get to know each other. During their lunchtime meetups, you can choose which activities the pair do together, and each one leads to exclusive scenes and dialogue that you won't see anywhere else. Sometimes you'll learn something special about Haruka that she never mentions again in the game, and in other choices, she introduces Kakaru to real-life, famous pieces of classical music, and the inner workings of her passion really come to life. There are 7 real-world pieces of music that you can find in the game, and if you make the right choices, you might hear them all. Ultimately, Venus Improbable Dream is an emotional tale of deep depression, desperate wishes, and exhilarating happiness. It takes you on a roller coaster of feelings, from rock bottom to the highest high, and uses the power of music to show that no matter who you are and what your problems may be, underneath it all, you really are capable of anything. Venus Improbable Dream is set to release in February 2021, and if you'd like to join me on this adventure, then head over to the itch.io link in the description where you can see everything you need to know and download the free demo. Will you be able to make Kakaru and Haruka's improbable dreams come true? Let's find out, shall we?